Hi everyone, today I want to share a card that I'm thinking about using for an upcoming Thanksgiving themed swap, and I'm using a new stamp set called Autumn Greetings. I really was drawn to this stamp set for this large image here because I love to color, and I thought that this one, this little image, or big image I should say, would be great for the watercolor pencils, and I think it's also great with the blends. I do think watercolor pencils would be great because you can sharpen those tips really and get into these small details of this flower. I'm not sure what that flower is. Maybe somebody knows and can tell me. It's I mean, it could be a sunflower, but it looks tighter. Maybe a zinnia? Is that a flower? Anyway, I think it's a great coloring stamp set, and I do enjoy coloring. I also like this pumpkin. It's really sweet, and I like this Hello There Friend, and I think I might make some more cards with that coming up this week because I am missing my friends, my stamping friends and my non-stamping friends. Okay, so I wanted to show you this stamp set. I also want to show you the dies. Actually, the dies got me even more than the stamp set, and I think that seems to be a running theme lately. I think the dies that Stampin' Up! Is including with sets are just knocking them out of the park. They're just amazing. If you take a look at this one, you've got a die that'll cut out your two image pieces here, but you've got so much more. Here's the one for the little pumpkin, and here's the big image, but look at these like wheat stalky looking things. There are three, and I thought those were fun. I think those are going to look great on any project. I used these two small ones for this project. And then I really like this pumpkin. I like that it's layered, so you can do a solid pumpkin. You can cut out a solid pumpkin in some pattern paper. That might be fun. And then if you wanted to add another layer of a darker cardstock on top, or even think of copper, just this really fun outline pumpkin, and you got two sizes, both with a solid and an outline. And then look at this, is a really fun, it looks kind of like the wheat. It gives you that feeling of the wheat stalk in this edge piece. And then here's a nice little rickracky looking egg piece, not quite edge piece, I say egg. Anyway, the dies are really great, and I think that these two can be used on just about anything, and you're going to have fun with these pumpkins. So I think that the dies, this is called Autumn Splendor, and I really love these dies. Okay, so again, the stamp set, and then here is the card. Now the designer series paper that I'm using for this card is actually from the Halloween section of the new mini catalog, and let me show you that because maybe you miss it because it's in the Halloween and you're not looking for Halloween, you're looking for fall, and I wanted to show it to you because it's multi-purpose, and I love that they did that because I like to buy a Halloween pack because I always do a scrapbook page of the kids in their cute little costumes and stuff, and I usually make a lot of treat holders and things at Halloween time, but I tend to have leftover paper, and I love that they give us these multi-uses. They're not specifically Halloween. So if you take a look at these two, this is what I used in the card. This is all I have left. It's a beautiful, pretty peacock, and I think I love that color, so I was really happy to see it on a designer series paper. And then here you've got, it's just some flowers and leaves, but the colors are very fall. You've got the pretty peacock, but you've also got Blackberry Bliss and Cajun Craze, so perfect for fall. And then on the back, this one is like a lacy, kind of Halloween spooky lacy, and if you look closely, there are bats in the lace, but you can almost miss that really. And then on the back of this one, you've got some black flowers, but I'm thinking this might even look nice sponged in a petal pink or something. I might play around with that idea, but I bet I won't have any of this left over because I'm going to use up all the pretty peacock. I bet these two will be kind of gone. I'm sure I'll use up the other sides, but look at this one. This is a nice, there's a harlequin type diamond pattern on one side, and on the back, spooky spiders. So isn't that fun? So I'm going to use up the spiders probably on some treat holders or something spooky, but if I have some left over, this pattern might look pretty on a masculine card, or it can go lots of places actually. Black is a nice addition. Okay, now this looks like a floral, but if you look closely, it's a spooky floral. You've got spider webs in here, so this might not be on a pretty card, but it'll be really fun for Halloween, and I'm sure I'll decorate some treat holders with that. But then leftover piece, I'm going to use these black stripes, and you can use these black stripes on many things. All right, here we got Lacy Bats. Those are fun. and this side has more of that. So this is a pure Halloween paper, but I think that it's really fun. And this could be a great scrap of page and tons of treat holders. And you can cut out these bats. That would be fun. I think there's a die for some of these bats. Here's another bat page. And then on the back of that one, more of those black flowers. So it's kind of a morbid black flower thing. But I'm wondering if I can make that somehow into something delicate and pretty. I'm going to play around with that idea. But here are the bats. And I think the bats are really fun. And I can see myself using this on some treat holders and scrap of pages for Halloween. So really cute, but I just love that they had some fall and multi-purpose stripes and other things mixed in. So you can add a little bit of, I mean, this one is kind of, you know, this brocade, I guess, or whatever you call this background, can be, you know, spooky haunted house wallpaper or something, but I think it looks pretty if you pair it with the flowers, and it loses its spooky feel and turns into a fall feel. That's what I'm going for here. Okay, so I've showed you everything there. Let me show you the inside. I did that too. And let's put this card together. You are going to need a card base in Cajun Craze. And then I've got a matte piece in Early Espresso, and this is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And then I've got a Sahara Sand. Now sometimes on the inside of my cards I like to do Whisper White or Very Vanilla, but I thought Sahara Sand is kind of fun with this color combination. It's just a little deeper in, you know, just kind of muted, and I thought it looked nicely with that. So I went with Sahara Sand for my inside piece. So I've got, these are both 4 by 5 1/4. And then I use the Designer Series paper as little accents, and I've got strips cut 3 3/4 across, and then this one is 2 1/4, and this one is 2 3/4 for a total of 5 inches, so that I'm going to layer those right on top of this. Let's go ahead and put those down so I don't lose all my little pieces. Can't decide if there's an upper or bottom on this brocade looking thing. Okay, so I've got those layered down. I'm going to stamp this first before I layer it. Now another couple other pieces that I'm using some stitched shapes dies for my greeting label kind of piece. So if you don't have the stitch labels, look for maybe your layering circles. Maybe you've got a punch that would look nice as a greeting punch. And then I've got another piece of Sahara Sand. So those are my dies, and this is from the layering circles. So if you don't have the stitch shapes, those are two different die collections. You've got stitch shapes, which I love because that little stitch detail just adds a little more something something. So I do like the stitched shapes, but if you don't have them, the layering circles framelits are great, and you can do a scallop edge as a border too. That's a nice option. And this one is the almost 2. It's just a little bit under 2 inches, just barely under 2-inch circle. And this is the second to largest, not the largest, but one down of the stitched circles. And I've already punched those out for us. And then we just need a scrap of Very Vanilla for our little pumpkin that we're going to stamp. Okay, let's get our stamping done. For the inside, I'm going to choose the Autumn Greetings stamp set. That's what it says on it, Autumn Greetings. It's also from the stamp set Autumn Greetings. And I'm going to stamp it in Early Espresso. And while my Early Espresso is out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my greeting on my Sahara Sand circle here. So that's it for stamping with the Early Espresso, but before I put it away, I'm going to do some sponging. You know, I don't often sponge on my cards. I forget to do it, but I thought on this particular card, it kind of adds something. I think the paper being the way it is, the Designer Series paper, it's got a speckly kind of worn look to it, and I think it kind of lends itself to sponging. And I'm sponging the inside as well. Now for my sponge, if you're wondering what this is, I just take any punch that I have, a paper punch. This one happens to be, I think, Storytime label punch. And I make myself a little tab so I don't get my fingers all inky. So that's what this is. And the sponges come like a circle, and I cut them into 6. You can use a really big sponge if you're doing some fun techniques too, but I like to cut mine up. Okay, so that is early espresso. And then I'm going to grab my Blackberry Bliss, and I'm going to add a little bit of these flowers from the stamp set, or not flowers, I'm sorry, leaves. And I'm just going to put some there. It's going to bring a little bit of our colors from the front to the inside. That's all I need that for, so that was fast. But I'm going to take my water painter. Now this is a fun little tool. They come 3 in a pack. This is the smallest one, I think, or second to smallest, probably second to smallest now that I'm looking at it. And I'm not going to even need any ink because I'm doing this pretty quickly. I'm just going to kind of take my water painter, which has some water in the barrel, and just using the ink that's already there from when I stamped it, I'm just going to color in these leaves. And that way it's just a light wash and I can still see the veins from the image. Okay, so my inside is done. Set that aside. And my stamping is done on here, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. Okay, so now we're going to stamp our little pumpkin. Now for this, I am going to color it in with Stampin' Blends. Actually, I think I'm not. I'm going to color this one in with my watercolor pencils because I did blends here. Maybe I'll do one of each, actually. Okay, so my watercolor pencils are right here. Now I've got them in this. This is just one of our large stamp cases, and another demonstrator made an insert, and she made that available for us, so I can see if I can find a link for it if you want that. But I think it's a nice little box, and in it I've got all my pencils as well as some blender pens, which I use sometimes when I want to blend them out. So these are great. They come in a box like this, but I emptied them into here. So I'm going to find some colors for today. Crushed curry would be good for the sunflower. What's this? Here we go. Cajun craze. I think that's going to need a green for the leaf. I'll go with olive. Okay. So we'll see which we like better, the blends or the pencils. Now I'm going to go ahead and sharpen this one. I sharpened that over my garbage can. Okay. So I like to go over the whole thing with a base color first. And then I'm going to add some darkness in areas that I think need darkness. I'm going to press a little harder. Okay, so I've got my Cajun Craze down. Man, I use these a lot and I didn't sharpen them last time. That's better. Okay, there's the colored pencil version. And then, if I wanted to use blends instead, I'll do that. I'll do that on the one at the bottom here. This is Mango Melody. When I want a deep or orangey yellow, that's what I grab. And this is Old Olive. This is Soft Suede. You'll notice I didn't use two colors. Sometimes when you use blends, you know, there's a light and a dark, and you're supposed to use some dark to add highlights and shadow, and you blend the two together. But this is such a tiny little image that I don't think it's necessary, except on my Cajun Craze pumpkin. So here I am going to use the dark and the light. So I'm going to grab first the light, and I like to do a full layer of that. And you'll notice it looks different because I'm using a very vanilla as my base, so the color would look different, a little bit different if you used it on Whisper White. But I think with the Designer Series paper that I'm using, vanilla looks better. Okay, now I'm going to take the dark and I'm going to add highlights right where kind of they tell you where to put them, because they've got the little image has lines in it for you to follow, so you've got nice places for shadows. I'm adding a little shadow underneath the leaves though. Okay, so now my transition is harsh, so I'm going to go back over it with the light, and it'll help blend it all together. As it dries, it won't be quite so dark. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these out and be right back. Okay, now one more time I'm going to take my sponge. I don't know that I need to add any more ink, but I just want to soften up these edges, because if I didn't do that and I put it right on here, that edge is so bright compared to the rest of the surroundings. So I'm just going to add a little espresso to the edge, and that kind of softens it up a little bit. So let's put this together. Oops, I have an extra. Now before attaching my main panel to my card base, I'm going to wrap it first with some ribbon. I'm using this metallic ribbon, and you'll find this in the fall section of the mini catalog. And I have to make quite a bunch of these. Normally I would just tie it all the way around, but I have to make a lot for my swap. I think there are 14 actually, and so I am going to cheat a little bit, and so there's a little trick for that if you want to reserve your ribbon. This one comes in a combo pack, so it comes with another ribbon, and I'm going to show it to you just so you can see it. It's really pretty. It's like mint. It's mint macaron, and it's kind of a basket weave. Really pretty for fall. And there's another fall paper called Gilded Autumn that has this green in it, this mint, and then the copper. So it's meant to go with that collection. But I loved this copper with my Halloween paper. Okay, so like I said, I have to make a ton of these. So I'm going to cheat. do like a little faux all the way around. I'm just going to use a glue dot and only go partially around. You can even take that further and see how there's a spot here that doesn't have anything showing. You could hide that as well. You can not have any ribbon be there if you wanted to take that further, but I think I have enough if I didn't do that. So I like to put that down with glue dots just so that I know it's secure. You don't want that coming out. And then I'm going to add some more adhesive right on the top of it. And layer that right down. And then on the inside, I've got okay, now I already die cut a ton of these little wheat stalks. I'm using the two different of the smaller ones. There's a long tall one too, but I thought I didn't need all three. Just to the left side, and then I'm going to go ahead and use dimensionals to pop this up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to add my little pumpkin now, so this time I'll add my pencil one. And then finally, we need a little more of this ribbon. I'm going to tie a bow. And I'm going to attach that with a little glue dot. And there we go. There is my Autumn Greetings card. I hope that you like it. Let me know if you like the colored pencil or the blends. I think both work well. Here's one I did with blends, and here's the watercolor pencil. I think the blends give a truer Cajun Craze color, but I think that this has some highs and lows which work with pumpkin. This looks almost like pumpkin pie, but it says it's Cajun Craze. Now it could be that if I added, this is a watercolor pencil, when you add water or a blender pen to it and kind of it changes the color slightly too. So I hope you like it. I hope you'll give it a try. Here's the inside again. I think I did another inside on another one. Yep. I made a lot of these. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll come back again.